Class, welcome to week 4. This week we get to jump into our website building. So there will be choosing a site builder as one topic, and the other is choosing a host. Project 1 is due this week. If you have not started on it and you're watching this video, please do so right away. I've mentioned this a couple times, but it is time intensive. So I hope you have started it and are well into the project now, as that will be due coming up. And then we'll start on project 2 as well. So a busy week this week. Let's jump into a site builder. When you're thinking about site building versus hosting in terms of a physical store, you want to think of the site builder as the actual building you'll create and the host as the piece of land you'll purchase. When you purchase hosting, you're purchasing space on the internet on which you can build your site. When you're looking at a site builder, you're looking at actually constructing the virtual space that people will experience. So that's the difference between the two. And I'll warn you ahead of time, a lot of companies now combine hosting and site building. So if you purchase their site builder, you're also purchasing hosting. So that's something to be aware of as you're looking at some of these different opportunities. We separate them in the course because it's important to understand that they're two separate functions. They do two different things. But a lot of companies have found it valuable just to combine the two products into one. So when you're choosing a site builder, it really comes down to your level of experience in building a website. There's 3 categories, each of different requires a different skill level. So there's a drag and drop builder. This is the first kind that we'll look at. And anybody can do a drag and drop builder. There's no experience required. You can launch a website from nothing with very little experience. They'll have templates set up for you. You can add different components. It's very straightforward. And then there's a content management system. That's a combination of a drag and drop builder with some coding built in. And then finally, there's a full-on site builders from nothing. Right, code your own website. You have complete customizability over the site, but it requires a lot of ability to code in HTML and CSS. So those are the 3 types. And what you'll do for this project is you'll go through different options for you and build a quantify compare matrix. You can pull from drag and drop builders, content management systems, however you want. If you just want to do drag and drop builders because you know you don't want to touch the other types, that's fine. There's some examples on here. So Weebly and Wix are examples of drag and drop builders. You don't have to use Weebly and Wix if you want to use a drag and drop builder. There's plenty of others out there, but those are 2 of the most common for sure, as Weebly and Wix. Content management systems. I will warn you to be aware of WordPress. A lot of my students have struggled with this. If you have experience with it in the past and you're comfortable with the platform, then by all means go ahead. It's one that students know a lot because it's very, very common, and so it's easy to look at that and say, oh yeah, I've heard of WordPress and jump on in. But a lot of students have trouble with integrating Google Ads, Google Analytics. It presents a lot of barriers, and you have to work with the company to get through that. The same can be said for Shopify. I didn't see students with a lot of challenges with it until last semester, and then a lot of my students struggled with their new user interface and how it was integrating into Google Analytics and Google Ads. So those 2 can be difficult. I don't see as many problems with Squarespace. I've heard good things about it. That's one platform I have not used, but I have heard good things about Squarespace. And then, of course, I'd only recommend that you build from the ground up with a product like Dreamweaver or a similar product if you have experience in HTML and CSS and you're willing to put in the time. The advantage to these is as you go along, the more coding you include, so a content management system or a full site build, the more customizability you get, and you can do anything with your site. You are limited somewhat in Weebly and Wix as far as what you can do in a drag and drop because you're working within their platform. But you can still create excellent websites with these, and I don't see students being too limited on what they want to do because Weebly and Wix keeps up with, or tries to keep up with the latest technology and the latest functionality on your website. So that's a site builder, and your ultimate assignment in this is to do a quantify and compare spreadsheet, and then a document that's at least 150 words in length, and describes which of the three you chose, and why you chose that one. So again, project 1 is due midweek. You'll have your discussion board on choosing a site builder, and then we'll jump into choosing a host. Choosing a host, I mentioned the difference between a site builder and a host. Hosting companies I've found to be very similar. I personally just go for the most cost-effective option. In my experience, they've all had great customer service because when you're choosing a host, that's really what it's about. You don't interact with your host a lot. You just have to make sure that they are able to put your site online. And the biggest trouble I have with a host is if my site is not online for some reason and I have to reach out to them. It's rare. Hosting from a consumer perspective is not complicated. I'm sure if you're working for the host company, there's a ton going on in the background that you don't understand. But from our perspective, we're the customer and we're purchasing hosting through one of these companies, and it's really just about them ensuring that your website is available to the public. As I mentioned before, if you're going with someone like Wix or Weebly or some of the other companies, they will package hosting together with the site building. So please make sure you're aware of that before you purchase hosting, to see if your site builder provides hosting. So for this assignment, you'll do something very similar, a quantify and compare spreadsheet with 3 alternatives and 3 criterion. And then you'll go through these questions specifically in your essay. So both assignments are quite similar this week, just one dealing with the site builder, one dealing with the host. So that'll be it for your assignments this week. Let's go through project 2 briefly. There is a video on project 2 as there are with the other projects. So I won't go too in depth, but I do want to draw your attention to the grading criteria in this. Essentially, project 2 is you launching your website, and the assignments this week and next week will take you through the steps you'll need to complete in order to launch your website. And really what we're looking for in this is, one, that it has an independent domain name. That means it can't say .weebly or .wix. You can get a free domain name with any of those companies, but it includes that phrase .wix, .wordpress, .weebly in the domain name. For your website, you need to purchase an independent domain name, meaning it just says www.yourwebsite.com. So you'll need an independent domain name. Then you'll need most of the necessary pages, right? Your contact us, about us, your product page, your home page, etc., etc. Navigational links, some idea design. You don't need to have this polished. I just need to know where you're going with the design. I'm not too concerned that it looks like a polished and finished website. We just want the basic structure there. And then finally, an integration with a third party to enable financial transactions. That could mean a purchasing function for someone to purchase a product. That could mean an affiliate link that's set up, or drop shipping. I just need to know that you can generate revenue from the site and that functionality is built in there. Not that you've completed a sale, just that it's functional. And those are really the 3 criterion I look for If you have 2 out of the 3, you've got 88 points out of 100. If you got 1 out of the 3, you've got 70 points. So the grading is pretty straightforward, but as you complete this project, keep that in mind. That's really what we're looking for. So that's it for week 4. Please reach out if there's something on here that you'd like me to go more in depth on. I look forward to project 2. I know it won't be due for a couple weeks, but it's to me one of the more exciting to see those websites get launched and to take your business idea and actually put it into action online. It's fun to start to see that come together. So I look forward to that, and please reach out if there are questions and more topics I can cover this week. Thanks, everyone.